I'm sitting here with Michael DeSalles. He's the senior analyst with Frost & Sullivan, one of the top analytical firms. What do you find when you travel through Latin America, when you look at some of the countries, where do you see, obviously people talk about Costa Rica and they talk about here, we're right here in Monterey in the beautiful Quinta Real Hotel. But what do you find as far as who are the leaders? And I don't want to say necessarily who are the laggards, but what are the challenges that you see some of the up-and-comers facing? And then also, who are maybe some overlooked hotspots, some places that really don't have the reputation that they deserve yet, but really that maybe somebody who's looking to cite a location might really want to consider? So
I'd start by answering your question backwards and start with Mexico.
Okay.
Because Mexico's not talked about enough. I mean, you have Teleperformance here, and they've got, I believe, 17 sites. 12,000 people. There's a reason for that. And I just came from a site visit, and the one thing that struck me is the level of English is extremely high. Now, they're parked right across the street from a technical institute, pretty darn smart. So we're going to get high-level people. But not only do they get them, they keep them. And so the whole thing is about talent management, bringing in the right people, keeping them, and moving them through the management strata so that they stay with the company. I met some folks who have been there for 13 years. And so, you're 29, you've been doing this that long?
Unheard of in the States. You don't see in a call center that people are...
The problem is in the States, people don't see it as a career.
Right.
Here, they see the opportunity. I mean, you can be an engineer, fine, but you could also be a call center manager executive and make just as much money and have just as much prestige.
Teleperformance also pays a cash bonus to their employees when they recruit, so that's
which is pretty regular. I mean, the other thing that I've seen that's a little different that I expect to see more in Latin America is you even see daycares on site.
Right.
Which again is a great retention tool. How great is it for a mom to be able to work, visit their daughter or son in the daycare center, in the contact center, then go back to work and then pick them up.
Right.
So there's economic benefit, then there's just this emotional bond with a company that does that for you. That's huge, absolutely huge.
Let's take a broader perspective when we're looking at the nearshore in general.
Okay.
And what are some of the we talk about the traditional leaders, obviously Costa Rica is a BPO a leader, and then we have Dominican Republic and to an extent Jamaica as other other call center destinations.
Sure.
Guatemala's making an effort. But who are some of the places that maybe have been overlooked and you don't hear about, but that are really getting the right ingredients and getting the pieces of the puzzle together where we might see them come up in 10 years, we'll talk about them in a way that we haven't done so in the past decade?
Sure. So I begin with, again, Mexico,
right.
Underlooked, but looking further south, Colombia is an up and coming. Mostly for domestic right now, but again, the English there is very good. The one best kept secret, and I've said this before, and I'm going to visit in about a week, is Guyana.
Okay.
So it's the only country in South America that's native English.
Right.
So you've got a couple of things. You've got native English, plus you have labor arbitrage there. And you have a government and a system and infrastructure in place that really supports call centers.
Oh.
That's very, very important. So you need the promotion from a governmental perspective, but you also need the infrastructure and the build-in to make that happen. I mean, you look at what Qualfon's doing there. They've already got a couple of centers, probably a couple thousand people. They're going to move to 6,000 employees, being the biggest private employer in the country for call centers, and that's huge.
What about Central America? What's happening in Central America when we look between Mexico and Colombia? What's going on there? Anything interesting?
So again, I just came back from Panama, and Panama is very developed. If you dropped yourself into Panama, you would think you're in San Diego, California.
Right.
Extremely well developed, good infrastructure, excellent English skills. It's a bit pricey, but you get what you pay for. So you get excellent skills in terms of tech support, retail, customer service. I would say that Costa Rica's really butting against them in terms of having the infrastructure, having the right people in place. The problem is scale. It's always scale, like Jamaica.
Right, you only have 4 million people in the whole country.
Are you going to be able to scale it? I think you can in Costa Rica. Jamaica, not so sure. A lot of Americans would probably be surprised, hey, we have call centers in Jamaica. Yeah, you do. Kind of the sing-song lilt that comes with that Jamaican English could be very appealing for certain industries, frankly.
Right.
Match.com, I think, has a site there as well. Teleperformance does.
Do you see anything happening on the horizon that's a bit further south, down in the southern cone?
So I think that BPO will continue to develop in South America. What's interesting is you have HR You have financial services. You've got a lot of other adjacent industries that will grow. Because the question I get all the time, Loren, is where's the next Philippines, right? Where's the American affinity? Where's the English? Where's the workforce? I would tell you there's no single place. I would suggest to you that that region, Central America, South America, is the next Philippines, frankly, for scale, for English, for technical skills, for an environment that is actually very conducive to outsourcing, frankly. I mean, if the American public knew it, they'd probably be quite surprised by how widespread it is. But the truth is, when you make a call and you're calling your credit card company, you're calling some other place, 9 times out of 10, you're reaching an outsourcer. It's not a bad news story. It's just where things need to be done, frankly. So if you're doing voice, it's going to be done typically on this hemisphere, Philippines. If you're doing back office, India is the place. And it's about labor arbitrage, frankly, and skill set.
I think with the training, the things that happen at places like Teleperformance and some of the other call centers, it's amazing. A lot of times people don't realize that that they're even talking to somebody that's outside of the U.S. And I think part of it is, one, here in Mexico, in North America, we're so used to hearing a Mexican accent, we don't even necessarily think of it as foreign. It's like if I hear a Southern accent, it's like, oh, okay, well, no big deal. You know, but then a friend of mine, just socially, worked at a call center in Barranquilla, and she told me that not only do they have extensive voice coaching, but for the cultural affinity in the call center where she worked, they had all the different TV channels of American shows running all the time. So if somebody's making small talk with you, then they're sitting there and they saw what happened on the vampire show that my daughter likes or something like that. You know, they're sitting there right there watching the same thing. They see CNN and Fox and all that right there. In
that makes
Colombia.
A lot of sense.
Right.
When I ran call centers with AT&T, we'd have CNN up in televisions all over the place because we wanted our clients to know that we know what's going on. And if there was an event, if there was something, we were right there with them. So I think that that's smart. The other thing that we do culturally here in Central and South America is you run football.
Exactly.
And so what it does is it drives the affinity certainly to the team and the country, but it gives the agents a sense that I'm part of something bigger than just me, frankly. And if I follow such and such a team, they're on. So happy agents make for happy customers. And that's a pretty simple formula. I think that again, Central and South America will indeed become the next Philippines, and that companies need to choose based on the requirements, based on the level of English they're looking for, which is going to be absolutely great, especially here in Mexico. The other thing you need to look for is longevity. How long has this company been in business? How have they been doing this? Is there a link between your culture and that BPO's culture, frankly? And when you find that mix, it works out really, really well.
Michael DeSalles, Frost & Sullivan,
thank you very much. It was a pleasure being with you.